Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be catching minnows in the minnow trap and fishing around to see what else we can put in the pond. All right, let's go. All right, so we have the minnow trap right here. We got our cast net, a rope, we got our line. Today's bait we're using is going to be cat food and whatever other baits in the cooler. I think there's like some old like squid or something that we're going to be using. So let's go do that. All right, time lapse. We have this all set up, and let me just tell you, this thing smells freaking terrible. This squid, it's been in the cooler for a few days. We went crabbing in San Francisco, and I kind of just forgot about it. So that's, you know, I don't want to like buy more bait and all that, but this thing smells freaking terrible. But let's go throw it in the water. So the rope is kind of tangled. I have already spent a good portion of my time untangling it. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold it, grab the trap, and what we're going to try to do, there's these plants. We're kind of on this dock thing. We're going to try to get it right in front of these plants. Right there. It's just deep enough where it's covered. The plants, whatever fish or whatever creatures are going to be hiding it over there, go in, and then it also has all this space. All right, so we're going to be waiting about, it just depends on how long I want to wait, but we'll be back. So with any trash, don't forget to don't leave a trace and throw your trash away. Okay, so we have pulled the trap, and there is tons of itty bitty fish in here. Let's go see. And then after we do all that, then we throw it right back in the spot. All right, let's see if I can do it one-handed. We want it right in this little clearing right here. So kind of unfortunate that thing fell off, but we have some fish to look at. All right, so these are the fish that I caught. So what we have right here are some bluegill. I am almost certain. I have looked up a lot of stuff on the internet, and these are saying it's bluegill or there's Sacramento perch. Those are apparently in these waters. So we are going to bring them home. These are going to be our predator fish in our pond. Lots of food in the water, unfortunately, but these guys are really good size for the pond. We want to see them grow along the pond, so I've been giving the guppies plenty of time to reproduce. Guppies, mosquito fish, whatever you want to call them, plenty of time to reproduce in the pond, and there's tons and tons of cover. So, and these guys are kind of too small to be eating all the guppies, especially the bigger ones. So I think a lot of them are going to reproduce, and as time, these guys will eat the fry, but then the adults will keep reproducing. All right, let me show you the setup on how we're going to take them home. How we are going to transport them is we're going to get some water from where they're from. A good bit. And then we're going to go to the car. So we have the 2, 4, 6 bluegill, an even number, in the bucket with a little bit more water. And we have all of this, and we're going to put them in. What we're going to do is hook up this air, super duper fancy air thingy, air stone, so it has a USB plug, and I'm going to plug it into my portable battery. And I just need to clean up this a little bit. So we are going to put the portable battery right here, grab it, and we are going to plug it in. And this thing is going to start vibrating. The air is going to start to push down. So what we're going to do is just drop it in. I'm gonna set this thing right here. Make sure not the cord to get caught. And we have air. So we are back in the car. The Bluegill are all set with the portable air pump. The portable battery pack is they're gonna be fine for probably like a couple days. That thing has so much charge. It can charge my iPhone from 0 to 100 in like at least a couple times. I'm not even gonna lie, it charges at least twice. So it has lots of charge. It's gonna last a very, very long time. So our trap broke, unfortunately. So we are gonna go back to the store. We're gonna go pick up another one, and we are gonna try out a different bait. And we're gonna go pick up some more cat food from the house. That thing really, really worked. The fish really liked it. We are after some Sacramento perch. I don't know if they're out in this lake. It's weird on FishBrain and a lot of the other apps. They say there's Sacramento perch in the water, which would be super cool to have. They're like a bluegill kind of. They are a sunfish, but they're like not as like feisty. They don't typically eat bigger fish or go after the big fish. They like to eat insects and like the mosquito fish, like small things, while the bluegill are just gonna just be chomping down everything, eating, packing on weight. And in a little bit we're gonna be feeding them worms, which would be super cool because I would love to start teaching them to hand feed them. That'd be awesome. I saw a bunch of other YouTube channels do it. Here's one of them. He did it and I was so amazed by it, and I fell in love with the idea of having a pond and doing some native fish species. So I've been doing lots and lots of research, lots of time, effort into finding out what species would work, what doesn't work. And I do want to be expanding the pond as I go along my journey. So I have my eyes on a pool. But that's going to be way, way in the future. And that's going to be lots and lots of steps up until then. But we have a 27-gallon tub pond, essentially, to work with. And we want to do small fish, work our way up. And then the next one, I believe, is a 50-gallon tub I saw. That's relatively cheap. We're going to pick that up soon, probably in a few months. As the fish grow up, we're going to let that thing set, throw in all the material or the live matter and all that stuff to give it that kickstart to jump. And then I want to do a really cool project where we can connect kind of both tubs, or with like a PVC tube or something connecting both tubs. And we'll block it off with like a filter so only water could go through, but it increases the water quantity, the water volume. And that's kind of what I want. I can't necessarily have these giant pools and tubs. I don't have the space, and it is just shared space. Like, the garden area is kind of mine, and I get to redecorate it. I get to do whatever I want, but I can't just have just a giant freaking 200-gallon pool right there. So we're gonna be upgrading slowly, and working our way up to those bigger tanks. And so, so I can actually get them and I can save up for them. But so let's go talk about the bluegill and how they are okay. So the bluegill are going to be okay in the bucket for probably a while. I can probably hold them for a very, very long time, and they're going to be okay. So not only are they hardy fish, they're incredibly hardy. You can find them in almost any body of water that's freshwater. Don't come at me. So excuse me, the portable battery pack is going to be good for hours, possibly for a couple days. I'm not going to be having them in the bucket for a couple days, but I do have to, do some stuff, and it's going to take a moment for me to get to the ponds, but they are going to be okay. So they are small fish, and meaning that they're not going to be pooping out a bunch. They're not going to be taking a bunch of oxygen. I made sure in the bucket that there's lots of water, so that they can be able to breathe, they'd be able to swim around. It is dark as well, so they're not going to be super stressed. So I'm going to keep it dark in there to make sure that they're not super stressed, because once I open it up and I'm, you know, filming and all that stuff, they're going to get stressed out. They're not going to like it, and they can possibly pass, and that's not what we want in transport to the pond. So the Airstone, I got it, it's super cheap. I think I got it from like Walmart or something. It was like $5, but USB plug that in, put it in there. If you don't have that, I honestly believe that you can just not do an Airstone. It honestly depends on how many fish you have, because if you're transporting like 100 minnows, 100 mosquito fish, 100, you know, bluegill fry, you're definitely going to need an Airstone or something to aerate the water to make sure that they're not stressed out too much. Because, I mean, honestly, the transport process, it's better to do the most, but let's being honest, you need the bare minimum to keep them alive to make sure you transport them safely. So I'm making sure I'm doing the bare minimum of making sure there's plenty of water, there's plenty of air. The aeration of the water isn't going to stop for a very long time, so they're going to be set for a very long time, and that's okay. I don't need to feed them, because once they go in the pond, they're gonna be too stressed to eat. But probably in a few hours, they're gonna settle in and, you know, start chomping on the mosquito fish fry and the guppy fry and just eat an algae and doing all that stuff. But they'll be fine for a very, very long time. And not only that, if you don't have it, like when you're driving the car, I really believe if you're driving your car and you're going along bumps and doing all that, the water is moving around. That's how aeration works. A lot of like the tips on forums on like if your power goes out is to get like something and just like move around the water as much as possible and create that, you know, the waves, and that causes the aeration. That's the cause of aeration, and that's what you want to do. And I really believe if you're in the car, and I only have 6 fry. I only have 6 of the bluegill fry in there, and the water's going to be slashing around and the air pump, so they're going to be more than fine. And that's kind of what I want, and I want to make sure that they're going to survive transportation. Let's talk about the different water quality of the water that I just pulled the fry out of to my pond quality. So my pond is tap water from the hose. I won't, it's no secret. I'm not using special RO water. I'm not using some distilled water. I'm not using any of that stuff. It's just straight tap water. I'm doing this for super cheap, super like the cheapest possible. I'm doing the pond the cheapest possible, and the water that I'm using isn't a secret. It's just plain sink water, tap water, hose water, whatever you want to call it. It's not no RO water. It's not no distilled, nothing. The reason why it works so well is because I allowed the good bacteria to build up in the pond first, and I added more and more bacteria to it. I added more bacteria in the pond to jumpstart it from other waterways that I know are clean. This lake, it's more of a residential. It's, you know, there's lots of buildings, there's lots of people going around, so there's lots of trash, there's lots of just whatever in the water. I don't know what's in the water. I really don't want to use the water because of whatever yuckies is in it. So how we're gonna go have the bluegill transfer from their water to my water is in the bucket. We're gonna slowly add, you know, we're gonna empty out some of the water in the bucket first, and then we're gonna slowly add some of the pond water. And I want to make sure that, you know, there is a very, very big difference. Not temperature-wise. Temperature is the same. I'm running a no heater. In the freaking lake, there's no heater in the lake. But it's just the water quality. I don't want them to get shocked by super clean water. In my head, if they're used to really, really dirty, terrible water, I don't want them to get shocked or anything. So I want to make sure that transition is going to be well. So I'm going to be pouring cups of water in at every 5 minutes, you know, a little bit, and then pouring it in, or scooping them up and then pouring them in. I don't want none of that yucky water there. I'm just going to give it towards the plants in the garden. The beneficial bacteria where I got the beneficial bacteria is from rivers and lakes where I know that are clean, meaning I know where the source is. So there's this river that runs through the mountains, and the lake there is the drinking water for the city. They filter it, they make sure it's all good, and they make sure that there's no trash, no dirties, no anything. That's the drinking water for the city. And I know that from there's a river that runs along. It's really mountainous, it's really, really rural, it's hard to get to. And then it goes to this park where I get the bacteria from, and it's a very clean park. They have park staff going over there, cleaning, going all around there. And then not only that, is a trek. It is a trek to get upstream to where I go to. So I know I am getting the cleanest water possible, and I feel okay using that, versus over here where it's in a residential area. I can visibly see trash. I can visibly see a lot of the dirties and nasties that I don't want in my tank. So that's the difference between all these, and allowing the good bacteria from the rivers and lakes in my pond and allowing them to grow for about a week, 2 weeks, allowing them to settle down, allowing them to find food to eat in the tub pond, you know, because I added driftwood, lots of driftwood. I added plants. Those plants, they had algae on the roots, they had whatever on the roots. So the bacteria, they're eating that, the algae, they're out competing the algae, because I don't want tons of algae. I want algae in the tank, but I don't want tons of algae, right? I want it to be just enough to allow, you know, mosquito fish fry to hide, to allow an extra food source if things, you know, if I'm not there to feed them regularly, or if there isn't a food source, because it is outside. I'm allowing bugs to go over there, so they're eating bugs, they're eating whatever insects that are floating in the water, because I know they're mosquitoes, so the mosquitoes are laying the eggs and the larvae, so they're getting eaten up. That's another food source that the fish are using. So I'm allowing it to be a whole ecosystem, and that's kind of what my whole vision is a whole ecosystem where I don't really have to touch it. I know it's good, and I know it's going to survive, and it's going to survive summer, winter, spring, whatever happens to the tub pond. We are going to be building a bog filter, or my version of a bog filter. It's honestly just going to be a plastic bin. It's not even going to be a filter. If I'm going to be honest, it's more of just a bog, no filter. It's just going to be a plastic bin filled with lava rocks and other rock substrates that soak up and have that can host good bacteria. And I'm going to be putting plants in there and allowing the plants to just take over all the roots, take over the box and all that. And just like another, I guess it is a filter, you know, but none of any of the big physical matter that's drifting in the water isn't going to get caught in it, unfortunately. It's just going to filter the water, and that's about it. But I'm going to be making that possibly in the next video or later in this video. I don't know yet. I'm drawing a lot of inspiration from my aquariums. I love plants. I love the natural look of things. I love putting driftwood, making biotopes as much as possible, because those things can get expensive with plants and wood, or the certain woods that live. Oh my goodness, that is incredibly expensive. But I try to do as natural as possible. That's what I'm trying to do with the pond. I'm trying to build an ecosystem before I'm adding predators, and those predators are going to be way too small for most of the fish. So in my head, the fish are going to reproduce, keep reproducing, and have that good ecosystem. And then now, since they've been in the tub pond for, I already put out the first 30 days. So yeah, this is the 60 days. So it's already been like, what, 4-6 weeks since they've been in there. It has been a very, very long time since they've been in the tub pond, and they should have reproduced, at least the females. And I gave them plenty of time. I know the fry that the lady gave me have probably grown. They don't even need to be super big. I'm not even gonna lie, the fry don't even need to be super big to start reproducing, at least with guppies and mosquito fish. So there's probably an overpopulation and overstocking of it. So put in the bluegill, they're probably going to start picking off the small fry and doing all that stuff. And not only that, there is a crawdad in there, or a few crawdads in there, eating up the algae. And those were the first testers to make sure that that the water in the tub pond was okay. So yeah, so there's lots of life in that pond already. And it's just now we're just adding more fish that are going to be getting huge. I do want to add a bass, but there's no shot I'm adding a bass in a 27 gallon. Even a baby bass, it's going to outgrow it so quickly, more quickly than I can keep up with it in terms of maintenance and all that. So I got to wait a while until I get a bigger pond. And then I could start thinking about getting a bass and start other fish. But so we are back at the tub pond. So a couple things that we added. It has been raining, as you can see from the ground and all that. It is wet. I forgot to add an overfill. So I added that thing, and the thing is leaking water. And yeah, hopefully it'll right itself. So as you can see, all of the life has taken off. All the duckweed has taken over the course of a couple weeks. So we're gonna be clearing that out. Let's get to it. So what we are gonna be doing with this. Grabbing whatever, making sure there's no guppies or duckweed. Shaking it off over here. And look. Oh, this thing is freaking out. Okay. There we go. See, we got some mosquitoes, fish. Let's get those back in. Not a super perfect way to get all this stuff out. Another one. So duckweed spreads so fast in ponds and all that. Hello. So we are back at the pond. It has been a few hours. The minnow trap didn't get anything else. So we are back here. I just cleared away a bunch of duckweed. One thing that I did forget to do is a overfill hole, just in case it overfills. So I just did that right now. And as you can see, there's tons and tons of evidence that it's been overflowing, which sucks. So cleared it out a little bit. This entire thing was taken over by duckweed. It just shows how much this thing grows in about a week, 2 weeks. So with that overfill hole, what I did right here, so as I was talking about earlier, I wanted these fish to transfer over pretty safely. So with that overfill hole, it's slowly pumping water into the bucket, so it's not to freak them out or anything. And not only that, it's you do that in normal aquariums too, which is where I got the idea. As you can see, the pond frans, or those pond little things, those green things in the corners, they aren't taken off as I hoped. Oh, here we go. they aren't taking off as I hoped. They might be better off rooted in a pot. So I might be getting like a small pot and putting it in the ground with soil and all that, and then capping it with sand so the soil doesn't escape. But I am kind of worried about the crawdads burrowing in there, so I just might do all sand. Yeah, so that might be a future thing. Yeah, but they aren't taking off as I hoped. I might try again, but it just might be that this place isn't getting too much sun. So as I'm figuring out the rest of the plants, the duckweed is going to be doing most of the heavy lifting in terms of soaking up all the bad stuff out of the water, while I figure out what plants grow in the pond and what plants don't grow in my pond. So this one right here, as you can see, it is blooming. It likes the water. As I trimmed off a bunch of the growing stems on the bottom right there so I can focus on the roots, and all of these right here, all of these are new growths, and I'm so happy to see that, because that means it's doing healthy. It likes the water. It likes it likes the nutrients that's pulling up, and it transferred over from soil into water really good. And another thing that I put in just for fun was some green onions. Those were chopped all the way down to the very bottom, threw them in. As you can see, they love the water and they're growing like crazy. All of this is new growth. All of it, literally from all the way from the bottom right here, it started growing. It's been growing for about like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. I put it in the last video. And these pond plants right here, they haven't died. As far as I can see, they have not died as much. They do like the water. All these are new growths that are growing around. And those, I think those are foxtails right here. I think those are foxtails. Those are doing well in the water too. So a lot of cover for the mosquito fish to hide. So remember that duckweed it grows so fast. So emptying all this, I threw it in the garden. A lot of it missed, but I mean, it's gonna dry out and it's gonna be alive for so long. So the duckweed is gonna be used as compost for the garden. And then see right here, they are getting ready. Another thing that you should be doing, that if you want to save money like I am, I don't want to buy dechlorinator all the time. I don't want to run over to the Petco, PetSmart, run over and grab them. So what I am doing is I'm laying out buckets right here. As it's raining, it's filling up with water, and that is perfectly unchlorinated, untouched water. It just has, just the whatever remnants are in the buckets. Like, I was using it for gardening and all that, but so it just has some dirt. But that is perfectly good water to use in the pond if I need to do a water change and all that. But so far, the plants have been doing a really good job of keeping the water clean, so that has not been an issue. I'm going to be doing a species profile on the bluegill and the mosquito fish and crawdads later on, so keep in tune for that. But these bluegill are really small. They're the biggest ones, maybe about 2 inches, maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches. So they're really small. So they're not going to be eating any of the mosquito fish, the bigger ones in the pond. They're going to be eating the smaller ones, the fry, and which is perfectly okay, because we have so many relatively good sized ones, so they're gonna keep reproducing, and that's the kind of the goal. And that's why I have so much cover on top, and I just need to work on cover on the bottom. And once I get cover on the bottom, getting some rocks, because these plants right here, they root in the ground, so I can put some soil around, some substrate, like sand to cap it off, around a little bit. I might be putting a pot or something like that one, putting it right here, so I can get some more rooted ones, some more rooted plants in there. There are 6 bluegill in here, so I'm going to be needing names for all of them. So drop a name in the description. There are 6 bluegill in here that are going to be going into the pond that we're going to be raising up. So I'm going to be needing names for them. If you can drop them in the comments, that'd be definitely appreciated. So with the bluegill, they are definitely going to be outgrowing this 27-gallon pond. I am already looking at replacements and upgrades for this, but I might be using this as mainly as a mosquito guppy breeding farm, essentially. Oh, excuse me, I burped. And putting a bigger pond somewhere else and having those fish, when the bluegill get bigger, like, you know, as big as my hand, swimming around here. So I'm going to be upgrading them to, I'm thinking about like a 75, and then upgrading that to a 150, and then a 200, and then 300, you know, on and on. So another way, so these bluegill are fine now, you know, the water's fine. So what we could do is we could drop this in here and essentially supercharge the water, or air charge the water, before we leave. It just provides a little bit more aeration in the water, and just making sure. It's just a little thing that I do. Alright, we're going to be adding these to the pond. We're going to need a net first because I don't want any of the yucky lake water going into my pond. Alright, so let me get a net first. Alright. Here are the bluegill. 2, 4, 6, so we got 6 of them going into the tub pond. All right, let's put them in. So we're gonna go put them like right here. We're gonna let them set for a few minutes, and then we're still having this thing aerate for a while. So I have a separate bin over here that has been collecting rainwater. I am gonna go let this duckweed just stir in the water, and I'll do updates. I'm pretty sure in about 2 weeks, my prediction is about 2 weeks, this entire thing is going to be covered in duckweed. All right, let's go. All right, so we're going to be putting these in. And they are off. We officially have some predatory fish in the tank pond. Tub pond. They are going to be going around doing their thing as bluegill, growing. As you saw, they were small. They were about 2 inches, very, very, very small. So we'll do some updates soon with them. So it's been about 2 weeks since the last pond video, and the pond, to be honest, is not looking the greatest. A lot of the plants have died back. I have added this solar fountain. I have it on the edge. It's gonna be, the sun rays are gonna be hitting this, and there's a little pump over there that's gonna be helping the water aeration. And that's probably the only electrical bit in this entire tub pond that I'm gonna be using. The green pond ferns are now yellowed and decayed. I don't think they like the switch. So what we're going to be doing is getting potting plants, putting some soil in there, and then planting the pond ferns in there and putting them directly in the tub versus suspended in the water column. So hopefully that will work. And the crawdads will have a little place to burrow beneath all of this, because there's a lot of plants in the middle swim column and a lot of stuff on the top, which is kind of what we want. But now I want to work on some of the bottom stuff and give some of the bottom critters some hiding spaces. The green onions that I put in here have totally taken off. These guys, I had to trim them back a bunch of times. As you can see, like, they grow so big, they ended up just falling over. So what I do is I just chop them, I throw them. We're not using green onions currently, so I can just toss them over as compost. So I've been researching a lot about ponds in general, not just tub ponds or pool ponds, but actual ponds, and they do take a very long time to settle in and to actually start thriving. So I've been talking to a lot of people on forums, and a lot of this dieback is natural, is okay, it's all part of the process, but it's all about finding what works in my pond, such as the duckweed. It's not ideal, but it is a good plant to be using for right now because I'm still figuring out plants. The green onion is sucking out nutrients with its roots. So you can see it right here. These clippings are doing a really good job. The pond ferns not so much, but I'm gonna be trying something else. And these water plants and these foxtails over here are doing a really good job. So it's all about finding what works in your pond and what doesn't, and it's all about the process. So far, only 2 of the bluegill that we put in have passed. The rest have been swimming around, eating and all that, so we're going to be looking forward to some updates on those, about them growing up. But hopefully with this solar fountain, it's going to be putting in the work. Right now it's not really sunny or anything, but I have it on the side, and hopefully nothing messes with it. But the filter is in there, it's going to start aerating, and hopefully that we can get some more life in this pond, some more things in it. Nothing super major that's happening to the tub pond except the solar fountain. But as this thing matures and grows, we're going to keep you guys posted. Until then, have a good one. I just did a little bit of reorganizing. I took a few things out, put some things in. I moved the solar fountain to right here. And then I have this cutting. I'm going to try to wrap it around this piece of driftwood that's sticking out. But that's about it for this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good one.